What's up, Internet? Trevor Starkey here from TrevorTrove.com for part 2 of my day 1 of E3 2016 press conferences. Yeah, been a long day. Ubisoft press conference. I should have just said that. The Ubisoft press conference. That's what I'm here to talk about right now. This was another one, just like the Microsoft conference, that because I was stuck at work all day, I caught very intermittently. I did happen to tune in kind of right at the beginning of it, like I think right around my lunch break or something like that. But then I had to kind of bail on it partway through to go do interviews and try and find an employee and stuff at work. So this was another one that, yeah, I ended up having to kind of catch piecemeal a little bit after that, and then finally finished it up when I got home tonight to finish up the recap. So as I understand it, that probably served me well, because a lot of what I was seeing online from friends as the conference was going on was the general feeling that it was too long, dragged on in places. So getting to kind of pop in and out like I did probably helped me out, made it less of a bothersome conference. Because overall, it was a fine show. Definitely didn't have like a huge standout punch, but it also wasn't like it was not. I did not have the issues that I had with like EA or Bethesda yesterday. And Bethesda was fine, but EA specifically probably goes down as my least favorite of the conferences this time around. Aisha Tyler was there as she has been for the last few years, kicking ass, being hilarious, a lot of fun, going with the flow, improvising stuff. She did a great job, kind of keeping the audience engaged. So yeah, overall, I thought they showed off some pretty impressive gameplay stuff. Yeah, let's kind of just talk through. So, show kicked off with the wild and crazy Just Dance number to Queen. Lots of weird costumes because Just Dance. Then they moved into Ghost Recon Wildlands, or as my friend Alex O'Neill from Irrational Passions calls it, Cocaine the Video Game, which was ever more apt because they revealed that that's kind of the premise, is that a Mexican cartel took over Bolivia and their coca fields and just, launched a huge cocaine industry out of the country, running the country. So they showed a beautiful cinematic trailer. And then they did what Ubisoft has kind of become known for a little bit in recent years, specifically with Tom Clancy games, in that they did a multiplayer demo that was incredibly scripted. Weirdly so. Like, just, you're never going to hear actual gamers having that kind of coordination or not talking over one another or doing any of that stuff. But they keep doing it, and it keeps working for them, so sure. It's coming March 7th, 2017, so that was cool to get a release date there. I put in my kind of recap that it almost felt like a bigger multiplayer version of Metal Gear Solid 5, which was one of my favorite games last year, so awesome to see more of that. Up next, South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Matt and Trey came back out to talk about the game, show kind of some opening character customization stuff with the game, show off some of the new combat mechanics of the game and how they've kind of expanded upon the stuff they created with the first one. And they announced that it's coming December 6th, way sooner than I was anticipating it would be coming out, so I'm super excited about that. And they announced that if you pre-purchase the game, they made a new-gen version of the game for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and if you pre-purchase the Fractured Butthole, you'll get the new-gen version of the Stick of Truth free to play along. So that's awesome. Great move on Ubisoft's part there. It's a whole great segment. I love seeing those guys, the South Park guys, come out there and crack jokes and stuff. Then they segued into some Division news, including the Underground DLC that comes out later this month, as well as announcing that you can get a few custom costumes for the game to celebrate Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six Siege, and Splinter Cell. And then they also showed a new trailer for another future DLC called Survival. I'm not a huge Division person, so I really had nothing else to kind of add to that. Then they spent some time on VR. They showed off Eagle Flight, which, when it was kind of revealed at PlayStation Experience, I just thought was maybe like Assassin's Creed big worlds that you can just kind of fly around, and this was more showing in game, specifically a capture the flag type game called Capture the Prey, and a 3v3 player versus player match. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if that'll, I don't know. I'll be curious to see what other kinds of like multiplayer PvP modes they include with that game. Then also sticking with VR, they showcased the, if you'd seen it maybe in the last day or two because it got leaked, Star Trek Bridge Crew. They had a little video showing LeVar Burton, Jerry Ryan, and Carl Urban from Next Generation, Voyager, and the Star Trek movies, respectively, all playing this Star Trek VR game together. And LeVar Burton, as I wrote, was so excited, kind of describing it in the package, that they, I guess, decided to bring him out and talk to Aisha Tyler about it. And so they did a little back and forth about the game, talking about it. Coming out this fall, all major VR systems, so that'll be an interesting experience. Maybe something I can get my dad to enjoy, because he's a huge Star Trek fan. It'll be fun. Up next, a great cinematic trailer and some gameplay for For Honor. When this was announced last year, it was kind of one of those games that I was like, that's probably not going to be for me. And last year when they focused on the multiplayer, it probably wasn't. But showing the campaign off this time around definitely caught my eye, and looks like it's going to have some pretty substantive combat, and I'm really excited to maybe try and dive into that and play around with it. This wasn't a game that I really played. Grow Home last year was one of the, it came to PlayStation on PlayStation Plus as one of the games when it came out. It was on PC before that. Little bot guy that in that game I think climbed up things. Apparently is getting a sequel called Grow Up. They had a little reveal trailer coming out this August. Probably not. Again, probably not anything for me, but cute little thing if it is for you. Then one of the weirdest segments of, definitely the weirdest segment of the conference, Antti Ilvesuo and Dean Evans, I completely butchered that first guy's name, I'm sure, the creative directors of Trials and Blood Dragon, respectively, came out like a weird tag team duo in matching jumpsuits, and I think there were pyrotechnics, I don't remember. But they came out to announce that Trials and Blood Dragon have had a weird love child called Trials of the Blood Dragon that released today. So that's a thing that happened. Because video games. Then probably one of the biggest drags of the conference for a lot of people, Frank Marshall he's a movie producer, came out to talk Assassin's Creed, and basically threw a whole bunch of bland movie talkism about mixing the old with the new, and how the story of Assassin's Creed decided it would make for a great video game. Very kind of, he was not the guy that I think they should have brought out for it. I made the prediction, and not just because I made the prediction that Michael Fassbender should come out and talk about it, but he did not have the PR chops to really sell it, in the same way that, actors or even maybe directors are kind of accustomed to doing because of their constant time on press junkets. Because he did not do a great job of selling it. He was not overly enthusiastic about the project, so when they got to a pre-recorded package kind of interviewing Fassbender and the director Justin Kurzel, that was intercut with behind-the-scenes footage and some scenes from the film, I think that probably played better than if they had done the whole 5 minutes of interviewing the producer leading up to it. Then was the big Watch Dogs kind of feature, showcasing the city, showcasing some of the game's mechanics like hacking. You can fly a drone, you've got a little robot buddy droid thing that you can kind of drive around. All in all, left me very excited to play the game, give the franchise another go. But there was a guy that was kind of featured in these trailers, one of your buddies, wearing like a metal mask thing here, and some weird like electronic goggles that constantly had like letters and emojis and stuff on it. And I definitely am hoping that that guy betrays you at some point in the game, because I really want to punch him. Like, really want to punch that guy. Just, oh, the epitome of what old man Trevor, who screams, "Get off my lawn" when people say "bae." I want to punch that guy so bad. So bad. So bad. Anyway, moving on from Watch Dogs, Yves Guillemot came out to announce one last new IP, a game called Steep, that is going to basically be multiplayer skiing and extreme sports, and definitely kind of got the same vibe of the Criterion game that I anticipated would be in the Microsoft conference, the GoPro of the game, basically. This one, they even mentioned you have third-person view for skiing and snowboarding and paragliding and sailing and I don't know, base jumping and whatever. So they had third-person view, and you had first-person, as he said, a GoPro view. Featured some cool mechanics, like you can go replay moments, you can play it in slow motion, you can view what other players that were in your kind of little challenge were doing during those moments, all with the intent of sharing all that experience online through Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. The first-person stuff really got me excited at the prospect of a game like that being in VR, because I've never skied or snowboarded or base jumped. I have parachuted, skydived, gone skydiving. That is the thing that I've done. But like something like snowboarding could be really fun to experience that kind of thing in VR. But I imagine it was probably already pushing the limits of the technology, so it's not anything I expect to see in like PlayStation VR come the fall. But maybe someday, or maybe one of the more advanced VR rigs setups. Going to come out in December, with betas leading up to the game. So cool little new IP. Continuing the trend of Ubisoft developing new IP. So yeah, overall, a good show. Not a great show, and I totally get why a lot of people felt that it was slow, because of those games, most people are probably only going to be interested in one or two of them. Myself, like South Park and Watch Dogs are probably the two that I'm actively interested in of that list, but there's a little something for everybody in there. So good for Ubisoft for kind of having such a wide-ranging portfolio. As far as my predictions go, I predicted that Michael Fassbender would be there to kind of talk about Assassin's Creed. He was not there. Instead, as I talked about, had the whole Frank Marshall segment. But because I did predict the segment itself, and because he was in the behind-the-scenes exclusive trailer thing, I'm giving myself a half a point there. Watch Dogs 2 would be a big focus of the show, and would be the focus of the show, and we would see stuff like a cameo from Aisha Tyler in the game, because she had a cameo in the first game. It was a focus of the show, but not really a centerpiece, so I'm not really giving myself any points for that. Matt Stone and Trey Parker did return to show up and talk about South Park: The Fractured But Whole. They even announced a release date. I had it predicted for sometime a vague 2017 date, but the fact that they came out with it for December 6th knocked half a point off of my prediction. So predicted the segment, overestimated the date, give myself a half point there. I predicted Ubisoft would reveal 2 new IPs, one AAA multiplayer game and one UbiArt game, in the vein of Valiant Hearts or Child of Light. Zero on the UbiArt front, but we did get Steep, which matched up with my prediction. I don't know if it technically would qualify as AAA, but still I'm rounding up to the half a point there. Because I did predict it with a cinematic gameplay trailer highlighting some type of multiplayer gameplay, which is exactly what it did. And then my last prediction was Just Dance 2017 would be announced with Meghan Trainor doing a performance. Just Dance 2017 was indeed announced, coming out later this year, October of this year, I believe, and then in 2017 when the NX most likely is an NX launch title. They did not say that, but they said end next year on the NX. But because Just Dance 2017 in and of itself was pretty much a given, I'm giving myself 0 points on this because the real get would have been the Meghan Trainor performance. So overall, that puts me at 1.5 out of 5 on this one, which ties me which ties my Ubisoft predictions with my Bethesda predictions. Not bad, I think. Feel free if you want to tear me apart, Alex O'Neill, on my the way I've counted my points, because that's apparently what you do to me, to your friend. That's cool. Do whatever you want, Alex. You do you. You do you. Anyway, other than that, let me know your thoughts on the conference in the comments below. Down there. As always, follow me on Twitter, Snarky Starky. Like, subscribe, share with friends. If you want to read the full recap of the Ubisoft conference, you can go check it out on TrevorTrove.com. Link is in the description for the video as well. And as always, thank you for enjoying the content, or not enjoying the content, but hey, you watched it anyway, especially if you watched this long, because I realize I probably rambled on this one a lot. So, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next time.